Hello, everyone. Welcome to 28 Days of Health. You are well on your way to feeling awesome. Let's be honest about that. You were awesome to start with, right? So, in being awesome, we do things, we challenge ourselves, and that's exactly what we're doing for our 28 Days of Health. We are challenging ourselves to make changes for our better health, for the better health of our family, and ultimately for the better health of our community. This is done sometimes by just making a commitment each morning to wake up on the right side of the bed. If you have trouble waking up on the right side of the bed, I suggest you put a sign right here. When you roll out of bed, I want you to see the words, the right side. Always make sure you're waking up on the right side of the bed, that you're taking steps into health, well being, physically and mentally. We can do this in so many ways, but today we're going to talk about the gut and the big role that the gut plays in your health, in your immunity, in your well being. Would you be surprised to know that your gut is the location, the environment, the zip code, right? The 90218. I don't know. Now you know how old I am, right? So it is the zip code for the better part of your immune system. Your immune system, also referred to when it's wrapped around the gut as gut associated lymphoid tissue. Well, it accounts for total body percentage about 70% of your body's immune system. So this area is really important for your health. It's really important for your immunity. And unfortunately, we insult it on a regular basis. So maybe we can talk about turning back the clock on the insult you have given to your gut. Maybe we can talk a little bit about small steps you can take to improve gastrointestinal health. Maybe we can talk about small steps you can take and motivate you to take those steps by linking many of the health concerns that you may be suffering from today, or maybe you know someone, and see if maybe we can make that connection to the gut so that you know, where do I start? Well, you start with your gut. Now, if you were with us on Wednesday night for our first show of That's Not True, you heard me talk about the role of detoxification and healthy hormones. And that really, if you want to get your weight in check, you need to get your hormones in check. And if you want to get your hormones in check, you better be really good at detoxification. And your gut is one of the principal partners in helping your body detoxify. Again, it has a lot to do with that lymphoid tissue that's wrapped around the intestine that accounts for so much of the body's immune system. It also helps create a barrier system in the body. Your gut is a massive barrier to keep the good stuff in, right? And the bad stuff out. That's really what we're talking about when it comes to gut health and barrier function. Yet, with insults to the gut, with sugar, with alcohol, with inflammatory foods, without enough fiber in our diet, we end up creating a hormonal milieu in the body, and we end up creating a really poorly functioning what's called gut microbiome. See, your gut is full of a ton of little live bugs that are really pulling and doing the heavy weight, right? They're pulling the heavy weight, they're doing the heavy lifting for your immune system, for your cardiovascular system, for regulation of cholesterol, for hormones. Really, we need to give a round of applause to our gut bugs, right? Because they are principally important in helping the body create wellness. You've often heard me say that the road to health is paved with good intestines. So when you meet someone, or you yourself are starting on just the beginning of a 28-day journey, or your first day of 28 days and beyond is today. Where do you get started? Well, you trust your gut. That's where you get started. If you can If you tell me, Dr. D, it sounds so hard to change my diet. I'm used to eating this way. Fantastic. Let's talk about how we can introduce one functional food, one functional ingredient into your diet and start to tip the scales in the right way. Let's move the needle in the right way. I often hear I can't eat healthfully or really pay attention to all of that. I have to eat on the go. My job is very busy, right? I don't really get to take breaks. I hear this a lot with hydration as well, that people will say, well, I can't really drink as much water. One sec. I can't drink as much water as you want me to, Dr. D, because it's really hard for me to step away from my desk. It's really hard for me to take as many breaks as I might need to. You know, you said that you fill up 6 of these a day, and one of the benefits of having a smaller container, like a liter, is that, or a quart, is that you are going to go and have to fill it up multiple times. Well, I get it. Not everyone's going to be able to do that, and that's cool. But we should find something that does work for you, right? So maybe it's a half a gallon container, or maybe it's what I'm talking about now. Let's just add one functional ingredient to your diet. Let's talk a little bit about gut health and resistant starches. So, resistant starch is another way of saying fiber with a little added benefit. Resistant starches are starches that are also referred to as functional starches. So these are probiotic, prebiotic starches. So think of inulin, Jerusalem artichoke, chicory root, apple pectin. You know, even potato and rice can become a functional starch if you cook it and then refrigerate it. So one of the benefits of functional starches is that they're very hard to degrade in the body, meaning that the body has to be very good at digestion. So it really challenges the body to digest in a healthy way. But because they take a lot of effort to break down, they tend to be a very efficient fuel. Now let's unpack what I mean by efficient fuel, because there's really two ways to look at the word efficiency. Efficiency can be so rapidly absorbed, like quick sugars, that we would call that really efficient energy, right? Your body would get that energy just like that. The body can liberate energy from that food just like that. But as such, the blood sugars in the body go up just like that. The energy that that food offers you, up and then down, right? So this is not the type of efficient food what we want. What we want is something that can multitask, and this is what resistant starches can do, whether it's inulin, chicory, Jerusalem artichoke, apple pectin, cooking rice, as I said, or cooking potatoes and then refrigerating them again. It's essential that you refrigerate them again. They reconstitute as a functional ingredient, a resistant starch, instead of something that has a high glycemic impact. And that's really my solution for people that say that they can't give up rice. Is I say, fantastic, I just need you to heat it and refrigerate it and be willing to find some ways to eat that cold instead of heated again, right? We can keep things in people's lives. We just need to have a discussion about how to make them more functional. And that's the way you make starches more functional, is that you refrigerate them. How do you make vegetables more functional? Well, you allow all their nutrients into your body, right, by not overcooking them, right? We don't want to over liberate the nutrients and pull out all and make all of the fibers soggy in the foods that we eat. Or you add in things like supplementation. You add in additional fiber that you get from functional sources like inulin or chicory root. A trademarked ingredient that has been shown to be very protective for the gut in 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 an aging population, in a young population, very special fibersol 2 in an athletic population. These are all ways that you can add functional starch. So I want you to take a look at some of the benefits of NutriClean Fiber Powder. If you're looking to start one health advantage, I want you to think of how am I going to add in a functional starch. If I'm unwilling to cook potatoes and refrigerate them, or cook rice and refrigerate them, then I maybe need to think about easy, palatable ways to get resistant starches into my diet. And I may want to add some NutriClean fiber powder. I've got tricks for how to do that. I've made ice cream with the fiber powder. There's ways that you can do that. If really what stops you from having a healthy gut is that you end up going for the sweet stuff or the quickly efficient sugary stuff, right? So there's some tricks out there. And so what I want you to do is, in the comments below, I want you to put, what is your biggest dietary, you don't have to confess your biggest infraction. I'll confess mine. It's marshmallows. You guys, I love them. Some people drink alcohol when they have a bad day. I reach for a bag of marshmallows. That's why we can't keep anything like that in the house, right? And I pick a special way I come home, so I can't go by a store, right? Because marshmallows mean that much to me. They are my love language. They are my comfort food, right? But they're not good for me. I need to find another alternative for them. Maybe an alternative marshmallow. Maybe I need to find an alternative solution for that coping mechanism of mine, right? I'm going to be honest with you. It's seltzer water. You guys, I drink seltzer water. I'm willing to drink flat water, and I drink a fair amount of flat water. But I've managed to find a way to add joy to my life by drinking seltzer water. And it's the health habit that I add in when I want to choose an unhealthy habit. I say, no, you're just going to go get more seltzer water, right? I also add in the collagen. I'm going to be honest about that. When I really feel like I want a treat, I pop a collagen. They're sweet tasting. They give me that little bit of okay, so you had a treat. So it's fantastic. Anyway, going back to the inulin, I made ice cream out of the fiber powder, right? So there's all kinds of ways that we can work with your indiscretions. So go ahead, and if there's something you want to get over, you want to substitute for something, put it in the comments below so I can help you make good decisions and add one great thing to your life, right? Now let's talk about that efficient fuel, right? That resistant starch. Why do I use the word efficient? Because it is slow to digest, it gives energy for a long period of time, and that's an important concept for the reason why we choose the wrong foods, the reason why we might have food indiscretions is because we want more energy. So I want you to think of resistant starches as also giving you energy. In addition to that, things like fibersol 2, chicory root, Jerusalem artichoke, apple pectin, these are the types of things that don't just give us energy, they give us glycemic control. So they tend to be very beneficial when it comes to weight issues. What you're seeing here is that there's a common thread. For many of the health challenges that people have, we can start with the gut, right? Food cravings, poor food choices, start with the gut. Let's start with a food substitute, right? Maybe you have issues with weight, or keeping your energy going throughout the day. It turns out that by focusing on the gut, we can give you more energy throughout the day. Here's a little truth bomb for you. Did you know that when you developed as a baby, that your brain developed from the same embryologic layer as your intestines? Whoa. True story. In medical texts, your intestines are called a little brain or the second brain. These two tissues, right, your belly and your brain, are intimately linked neurologically and epidemiologically. I love how I just throw out words like I know what they mean, right? Embryologically, they developed from the same tissue. They are intimately linked to each other through cell signaling, neurotransmitter signaling. So when you do not feel good here, you do not feel good here. When there's inflammation here, when there's chaos here, there is chaos here. One of the ways that you can work with a foggy brain, lack of concentration, you can go as far as to say lack of memory, although there are other cognitive components there. So we're going to stick with that foggy brain, that confused brain, that overwhelmed brain, but even that emotional brain, right? Starting with the gut is a fantastic way to start working on the wiring up here because they're so intimately linked. In fact, there is a link between your brain, a gland in the brain called the pituitary gland, the hypothalamus, the thyroid glands, the adrenal glands, the gut, and the gonads. They are all linked through a hormone and chemical system that when one of them is off, another one tries to pick up the weight and it just tends to exhaust itself, and another one then has to pick up the weight. And this is why we see things like anxiety or depression linked with low thyroid function, linked with overwhelm or stress, and low sexual function. Because these are tissues that are all communicating with each other. Now, you may say, oh my gosh, that is so overwhelming, right? Start with the gut. The gut is a common link here. The gut gonadal axis, right? So it's this hypothalamic pituitary thyroid adrenal gut gonadal axis. Of all of the things that we can work on, right, as practitioners, as parents, as advocates for other people's well-being, right? Of all of these things, all of these options that we have, the one that is absolutely within your control is your gut, right? The foods that you decide to fuel yourself with. All of this is within your control. And that is really powerful information. And that's why we often say, let's start with the gut. Now, it's important to know that the gut biota, the gut diversity really matters. So your diet needs to change, right? You can't eat the same thing day after day after day, right? What you need to do is when they say variety is the spice of life, they weren't kidding, right? You need to eat a variety of foods, fats in their natural state. You need to eat fiber and plenty of it, right? We do not get enough fiber in the United States and around the world for the most part. Some of that's due to cooking, some of that's due to convenience foods. You need to make sure that you're getting enough protein for your activity level, right? For your lifestyle. That means if you're a plant-based eater, that you're going to focus on higher potential protein foods like peas, right? Not just peas, beans. There's all kinds of things you can do if you're a vegetarian or a vegan to make sure that you get enough protein or sufficient protein. But variety is the spice of life. Well, that is also true for your gut biota. We need to have a very wide diversity of gut bugs to be able to do their job. Some of the gut bugs that are resident right now in your intestines are responsible for keeping your heart well. Many of them are responsible for keeping your brain well. Many of them are responsible, obviously, for your immune system. One of the bigger places that probiotics and probiotic foods are beneficial. These would be fermentable foods. Are beneficial is to create a healthy gut biome, right? A lot of diversity and a lot of bugs themselves. And these bugs are amazing. They're kind of like, they have a hive mentality. They're kind of like ants where they all get together and do a really big job together. So it's possible that when you have an abundance of one, that they will start to, in a totipotent kind of way, start to work like the others on behalf of the others, right? But one of the places we don't see them play well is when you have pathogenic bacteria, problematic bacteria. This is just another argument for you not to consume a lot of sugar, because that problematic bacteria, they love sugar, right? So this is another reason why we put those functional starches in, because they're so complex that some of the bad gut bugs, they're looking for the efficient fuel, right? Not the efficiency fuel. And so I guess that's the way I want to do it, right? So like you want your house to be energy efficient, right? You want it to have energy and like manage energy throughout the day. Well, that's what gut bugs are doing for you, is that they're making you a more energy efficient household. and your heart sees the benefits, your mental well-being sees the benefits, your weight sees the benefits of this, your immune system sees a huge benefit from this. So I definitely want you to think about, what are you doing for your gut today? The last message I want to leave you with is this idea, this concept of inflammation. Inflammation is common to many health complaints today. You know, it starts with oxidative stress, leads to inflammation, and then ultimately this hormonal chaos in the body. This is very similar to when we talk about our stressful lives, when we talk about overwhelm, when we talk about the hypothalamic, pituitary, adrenal, gut gonadal axis, right? Thyroid, gut gonadal axis. If you're going to pick a target for inflammation, pick the gut. And the reason why is it's responsible for, like I said, keeping the bad stuff out and letting the good stuff in, nutrient movement, but it's very much responsible for interleukins in the body. And these are just chemical signals in the body that manage your immune system, that manage hormones, manage inflammation, manage growth factors. And IL-6 is a bad one. IL-10, however, is a rockin' one. And when IL-10 is in great shape, other inflammatory factors don't tend to like rear their ugly head. Well, gut health is the magic gateway to IL-10, interleukin 10, doing what it's supposed to do in the body. There are so many reasons why you should start with the gut, why you should follow your gut. There are so many reasons why I want you to think about a gut bucket, right? What am I going to put in my gut bucket? What am I going to do to work with my gut? Well, I'm going to throw some good foods in there, plenty of colorful fiber in my gut bucket. I'm going to make sure my gut bucket has probiotics and a resistant starch with Fibersol 2 or the NutriClean fiber powder. Something I didn't talk about, but we need to talk about, are beta glucans. Beta glucans are what are responsible for much of your body's immune system to mount an immune response. So let's just back this up a little bit. I need good fiber, right, to make a healthy substrate. I need good fiber to build a healthy barrier. I need that good fiber for that energy efficient household, right? I need those probiotics because gut bugs are what do the heavy lifting. But I need something that when my body is going to be in an inflamed state can mount a healthy immune response. And beta glucans are where it's at. Beta glucans are naturally found in things like oats. There's something called yeast beta glucans and then aloe beta glucans. And I want to talk about the aloe beta glucans. These aloe beta glucans are technically a resistant polysaccharide. They're very complex. And they're branched in such a way that they literally create what are called antioxidant bursts in the body. So aloe, you may not know this, is a very antioxidant dense plant. It's a very nutrient dense plant. But these beta glucans create an antioxidant burst when the body needs an immune bump. That antioxidant burst tells white blood cells to also come to be alert, to be on guard. And in fact, that antioxidant burst that tells neutrophils to, that's a white blood cell that tells neutrophils, whoa, something's going on. We need to protect her, right? But in a very balanced way. That's one of the nice things about beta glucans is that they create an on-guard approach with not an overstimulated immune approach. So for people that feel like they're very hypersensitive to things like fragrances, dyes, colors, foods, they say, I smell a packaged food and I'm going to break out in hives. I want them really to think about aloe because aloe beta glucans are very beneficial for the oversensitive individual. Not only does it create this kind of spackling in the gut that allows for a healthy barrier function so the bad stuff can't get in, it also creates these antioxidant bursts. It puts your white blood cells on alert without overwhelming them. It can keep inflammation in this very healthy balance because it knows something's going on, right? So it's just about having those guardians there for you, knowing that Things tend to creep into our diet. Things definitely have crept into your food supply, your water supply, right? The environment. So you want something that's really going to help you kind of have that fortress for immunity. And those are the beta glucans that you find in aloe. You guys, I could talk literally all night, and clearly I'm trying to, about gut health. I think what this means is that you're going to put some questions down below, and we are definitely going to come back with a live video to answer some of those questions. I definitely want to pull some of those questions into my next event, which is on Wednesday, or my next That's Not True series. That's on Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Right, so you can catch me here on Market America Healthy Living. Do not forget to live your lifestyle. Tag us in your lifestyle. Hashtag 28 days of health. I want to hear all about the new changes that you're making to be a better you, and to share that with other people. Until I get to see you again tomorrow night, go be healthy, go be brilliant. I know I get to see some of you tomorrow for our full day deep dive. That's going to be exciting as well. So if you want to pull over some of these questions for that, we can definitely do that. But I'm going to be live here again tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we're going to be going over some other health factors. Can't wait to see you then.